The latest developments. Months after directing internet service providers to block about 25 top pornography materials, the communications regulator has begun destroying pornographic materials as part of the move and the strategies to ban the distribution or viewing of pornography in the country. So last week we all saw this, a symbolic banning of pornographic materials ahead of the nationwide enforcement against the sale and distribution of pornographic materials in Uganda. So Ugandans are asking, is this all? What else is being done to fight pornography within the country? So we are glad to be joined this morning by the chairperson of the Pornography Control Committee, Dr. Annette Kezabu, to give us this update. Thank you so much for making time and welcome to Morning at 10 TV.
Thank you and good morning, viewers.
Good morning. So I think we can start with some history and just borrowing from what happened, the great milestone that you made with the UCC signing this memorandum of understanding for them to help you in the detection, prevention and controlling and also the regulation of, you know, what you call as pornographic materials on both fronts. These phones,
Yes.
Most of them use these things.
Yes.
So from March to now, what have been the strides you've been able to make? Has that memorandum of understanding borne any fruit, so to speak?
Okay, so good morning, viewers, once again.
Good morning.
I'm glad you said let's start with the history. You know, we started in August 2017, and as we started, people were saying, so where are you going to start from? This looks like a huge kind of job. What are you going to do? But we said we're going to start with the low-hanging fruits, as I always say, and we're going to start with sensitization. So indeed, we started with sensitization. Especially we went to secondary schools, because we know that that is where the concentration was. Why? Because some secondary schools are a bit strict, but you have those which are a bit liberal, where students have phones, where there are computers that's not controlled, the viewing is not controlled. So children or students would go to these sites, the pornographic sites, and usually we found that most of them, because of course we had conversations with them, we had some of them doing skits, and from their skits we could see how deep they were, because when someone is talking about something that's on somebody else, they tend to be as open as possible about it. So the skits would show us how much they know, even some things we as adults don't yet know. These children, we found that no. And then we also found some things we thought were a bit innocent, like on the school shelves, you know, those novels, the novels that are like love stories,
romantic.
Most students say that those introduced them to pornography because that was like soft porn. And they would learn some things from there, and then they would become curious, and then when they were by themselves or with parents' phones, as young as 7 years, they would get the parents' phones and check, and then some of them ended up going into pornography. And the nature of pornography, as you know it, would drive some of these children under, and they would watch these things. Of course, you can't watch pornography when everybody is looking at you, because by its nature, it's hidden. So we learned a lot from the secondary school children, but we also sensitized them. Then we also went to cultural institutions, sensitized those, and asked them to help us. Actually, at one point, we wanted to go back to some, like the Kingdom of Uganda, because many people were using it as a scapegoat to perpetrate pornography. We saw singers, the ones, you know, the aunts, who are supposed to teach good things to girls who are getting married, or to take them into that sector of marriage, now would be perpetrating pornography. Actually, we have some singers on we are following, and if necessary, they are going to be arrested for what they are doing, because what they are doing now is putting real sexual acts, but in a very crude way, on tape, and selling these tapes. That those are singer tapes. So they have perverted something which was really good. Pornography, by its nature, perverts what God had instituted as a good thing for reproduction and pleasure. and now makes it crude and addictive and which makes some people even commit suicide. So from secondary schools now to cultural institutions, we learned that at every level something can be good. The phone is good, it's good for communication. But then if you turn to pornography and then you're addicted and then your studies suffer, then it's not a good thing anymore. Actually, you should take away that phone from that child in order for them to progress.
Correct. So you started from schools, went into the cultural institutions.
Yes.
It's amazing that you're making milestones. Now you have sengas that are on your radar, so to speak, which is critical.
Yes.
And someone would say, okay, fine, are this, one-offs? Are these programs that are consistent and continuous part of pretty much these schools now? And how many schools have you touched on? Because that's where the basis is. You said secondary schools, but now we know even our kindergarten going children are exposed to this thanks to cartoons. So are these one-off kind of interactions, or there are programs that will become part and parcels or part and parcel of this school going children, so to speak?
Yes, we are taking this deeper. Pornography is a mindset as well. So the way to deal with it is to use behavior change strategies. To change a mindset takes a lot of time. It's not something that you can do as a once-off.
Right.
You must consistently. So for the same reason we go to church or to the mosque, for the same reason we go to church every Sunday and the preacher preaches from the same Bible we are carrying from home, it is for the same reason we have to keep talking. So as you're talking about the MOU with the Uganda Communications Commission, we've made another one with the Uganda Registration Bureau Services. We are also in the process of making another one with Media Council. And so these other government entities are also helping us in the fight against pornography. As you can see, it's a huge thing. It is supposed to be sustainable. It is supposed to be consistent.
Yes.
And funds are limited, as of course government budget cuts the budgets usually.
Right.
And that has also been a challenge. But these MOUs we are making are helping us a lot. They are fighting from one angle and we're fighting from another, and whatever we find which they regulate, for example UCC, we always send it to them and they regulate it.
We'll go back to UCC and how far this MOU has taken us to, but that program for secondary schools, how is it pretty much rolled out? Is it in clubs, so to speak? How are you implementing that? Because I know that's the major point of concern for even parents.
We have found that the most useful strategy with dealing with secondary schools is to make any program participatory. If they are participating, then they are learning, and you can see how much they are learning, and you can almost measure the behavior change.
Yes.
But if you go to preach at them, you will never know how much they know. Probably they even know better than you.
Yes.
Yeah, so we've made most of the programs participatory through school clubs. They act skits out of them. We monitor all that through the patriotic clubs. Usually the patriotic clubs are the ones which have taken up this because they know it's a problem already.
Yes.
They know it's a problem in their schools. So what the clubs do is that in their activities they have plays. When they get together, they have plays, they have things that they do to remind themselves that pornography is a danger and they should look out for it. So the participatory nature of our strategies is helping us more than the preaching at kind of strategy which we don't use anymore.
All right, on to the last question, still sticking to schools. I'm a parent, so that's a major point of concern for me, and I'm sure that it is for many parents. How many secondary schools are we looking at? How many have you been able to rally together with?
We have sampled all the regions. Okay. So about 124 secondary schools. We have gone to just a few primary schools, maybe 15, but we have realized that as far as 7 years, 6 years.
Younger.
Yeah, and most of these, what is amazing and what is very, what makes us angry is that we have found that most of them have been introduced by relatives, by uncles who live at home, by grandparents, who have introduced them to pornography, but usually those end up using them actually also defiling the children. Right. So as the children come out now and show us that they know pornography, we are going to go deeper, as you said, even as far as kindergarten,
right,
to show them what, you know, like the bad touches are and all that, because it's very important. You know, sometimes you, as a parent, I am a parent, you want to think, my child, I can protect their innocence as much as possible, but not anymore with the social media, with the, what is showing on TV, but especially social media.
Right.
Somehow they access these things on our phones, and that has taken another turn.
Speaking of social media, so let's now get back to the key focus. The UCC Memorandum of Understanding signed between you and the UCC. This happened in March this year. They will help you in detecting, prevention, controlling and regulation of pornographic materials right here in the country. It's been March, from March to now. Are there any fruits?
Yes, there's been, we have found UCC very useful. Number one, if we, like when we got the nudes, you know, the nudes thing has also been quite something now in Uganda.
Right.
For now we are on the low season, and we hope it remains, we hope it remains like that. But we found that there was also a lot of crime involved with the nudes. For example, the last nudes, which were, you know, which shocked the nation, came from someone who was using girls. He had taken so many girls and used them and drugged them. Usually, he would administer a drug to them and even shave them and then take the nudes. And when he has gone, he sends you your nudes and you're shocked. You wonder how you even got into this situation.
Right.
But now, of course, rape is involved, HIV is involved. You know, so many things get involved in that. But we thank God that recently the people who are perpetuating that are now apprehended. They are somewhere.
Okay.
They're apprehended. And thank God that's we hope that can bring to a stop to the nudes. So UCC helped us. They have a big machine at Communications House. It's called a digital logger. It's able to take you back to where the thing started. So in other words, we can even get the people who produce the pornography, the phones especially.
Yes.
Then it takes us back to the original producer, because that was a problem. We would be at the 1,000 distribution level where the thing has already gone through social media, and you can't point to the first person who leaked it to social media, who is the person who disseminates.
Correct.
It does not take away legal action against the people who have the pornography, but the producer and the disseminator, the first disseminator, are the big culprits in this.
Do we have any behind the, you know, behind bars, any that you've been able to apprehend?
As of last week, we got somebody who was doing that. You know, he would pick girls from different universities, take them, rape them, drag them, take their pictures, make them pose for pictures when they're out of their mind, and then he would use these pictures to extort money from them. That was like a very notorious person, and I believe police will array him soon before the media. But that was like a big impediment in the fight against pornography, because what he was doing was, you know, he was distributing first-class pornography. He would go create fake accounts and then send these to Mama Tendo Foundation, Mama Tendo the Chest, Mama Tendo the Rebels. You know, we have that Mama Tendo thing distributes a lot of pornography, and we are also looking into that, into either closing it or the people administering it to stop it, because criminals are also now using it to out most of the things they get to blackmail girls. Right. Yeah.
Okay. So far so good with regards to this MOU.
So UCC is helping us a lot. A lot, because they have the machines that can detect pornography, that can show us where the whole pornographic thing started. Okay. That's
now, just the other day also, something great happened, you banning pornographic materials. What informed that, and is that a sustainable solution, so to speak?
Yes, that was not actually a solution. How that started is, one time I went to the police, to the Commander Metropolitan, and I said to him, I have known where pornographic materials are. I want us to go and arrest these people and bring them to book. He laughed and he said, you know what, there are so many, and they will plead ignorance. And the best way is to use your way. You told me about a participatory way. Why can't we use that? I said, okay. Well, how do you want to do that? So he collected all the vibanda owners, all the VJs, all the DJs, all the people who sell, who cut from the internet and sell pornographic materials. He gathered them. We couldn't fit in CPS. We went outside and we had a big conversation. And in that conversation, we agreed that we'll get a day and ban pornographic materials as a symbol that they had bought into what we are doing and that they are no longer going to sell these things. Okay. So that's what that was about. When we brought UCC on board, they said, no, we have more stakeholders. We regulate these people. Let's call them for you. They called them again. We got together. We had a seminar, half-day seminar. We reminded ourselves, we reminded them about our mandates. They also reminded us what they expect of us. We agreed that we are banning these pornographic materials, just a few of them, as a symbol that today we have all decided to ban pornography out of Uganda. They should go and look out, because most of them were representing organizations that have filmmakers and all that. Yeah. So that agreement was important. Right now, some of them are the ones alerting us. They are calling us and saying, there is a friend of ours who is about to launch something. Right. It is pornographic. Please call them and first check it before they launch it. But
Dr. Kesabu, this was a symbol, and we know that pornography is, how will I call it, a very sharp sword that cuts through the mind, and it goes to addiction. And you're talking about individuals, and like you rightfully said, no one consumes pornography in broad daylight or in the open. So it's a state of mind. So moving forward, over and above this great symbolic kind of event that you had, what are the strategies that you're going to undertake so we can fight this from the core, which is the mind?
There's no other strategy that's bigger than continuous sensitization of people. I believe even that symbolic banning was sensitization to the people that are still selling, to say you are selling something that killed somebody. We got some people who even gave testimony there, how they had gone deep into pornography and how they have come out. But in terms of strategies, we are going to keep sensitizing people. We are getting as more partners on board as possible, because we believe that when someone participates with us, then we are not busy fighting him, but he's fighting with us or she is fighting with us. And we have found that a more sustainable strategy than going around and arresting people and using the law. We are talking about human beings. We are talking about people who are addicted. We are talking about people who are deep into it. We are talking about people who are helpless in it, who are swimming against the tide. We want to help those. As far as we are concerned, even if we help a few people, they will come out and they will stand strong against pornography, rather than going massively and then, arresting people and then sending them back and then they are helpless. That is counterproductive.
Right. And someone once made the joke that even them that look prim and proper, someone who is very handsome, beautiful, well dressed, they could be struggling, and you can never tell that by just looking at someone. So what is the committee doing? Do you have platforms or programs whereby someone can, say that, hey, I've been in this and I'm ready to actually reform? Can they approach you? Are there programs of, trying to help these people out of those drowning waters?
Yes. Thank you for that question. That's another thing we've been struggling with. At one point, we were overwhelmed by the number of people who were saying, how can you help me? We had, one of us, a member on the Pornography Control Committee, is the chair of the Councillors Association in Uganda. So he, and together with the other councillors, have been helping out some. Some had been going to them privately, but now we really direct them to them. Our sincere hope is that we'll, get some funds and set up a center, like a one-stop place where people can come. But especially from secondary school, we've got a big number of students who have come out and said, I am this deep. How can you help me? We have sent those to councillors. We are looking to partner with Butabika very soon, maybe in the coming 2 weeks, so that we can even send some people there for counseling and psychotherapy. We've sent to them some people already who were knee-deep into pornography. Yeah, as we get people, that is how we refer them, but we need our own center, which we will hope to set up soon, where people it can be a one-stop center for them to be educated, but also to be helped step by step to retrace their steps out of pornography.
Okay, and there's a question coming in, and they're saying there are many brothels across the country, and these are brothels that actually don't hide. We see them. Some of us who, you know, get to work very early in the morning, we just pass by them, and we see many girls who are pretty much, is it taken advantage of, or maybe they're just deep in it. So are we cracking down on such centers?
This is the phase we are starting, actually. We thought at first, let's first rehabilitate, let's first educate the ones we found already addicted, but let's also educate people about what's happening. I tell you the truth, right now in Uganda, most people know what pornography is, and they know what they are doing. We have even apprehended some, the ones in brothels. There's a time we went to Musega and rounded off that area, and we found so many of those brothels, some called car wash, and then they were not washing cars, they were washing girls, nude there, and they would climb on top of cars and just make shows. For how much? Very little money. The exploitation in those places. But we are cracking down on them. The thing is that now we are going for people. We are not going to say, oh, you don't know, let's educate you. No, people know.
Right.
Now we are going to crack down. Especially, you know, that whole Entebbe Road, there are so many brothels. We know about the brothels, but we hadn't gone that way. It's an overwhelming thing. It's big. You cannot touch everything and legislate and then go and take people at once. But we are going step by step. Now that they know, then they should take responsibility.
All right. On social media here, Hassan Hussein, he's saying, if all sorts of corruption cannot be fought against, then what about pornography? He's saying that actually the Minister for Ethics has done nothing, because everyday nudes are spread everywhere. You did mention about nudes and what you're doing with regards to that. But moving forward, Doctor, do you think, as much as you're at the forefront of fighting this, do you think we're going to win this battle?
Well, I like Hassan Hussein's comment. Not that the minister has done nothing. I know the poor man has been up and down doing whatever he can.
Yes.
But also that people have seen, for me, what has made me happy to this level is people have seen the extent of pornography. Some get overwhelmed on our behalf and say, what will you do, what will you not do? It's a lot. For us, we are saying we are taking it slowly by slowly, and we're going to get where we are going. But I like that he says, so these are people now reporting to us about where the nudes are. These are people who are coming out positively, like Hassan Hussein, saying, there is this, you haven't done anything about it. I was not around when the singer went to that school and danced the way she danced, but you know what, the parents called me, and which is a positive thing, which means that they know that there is some help somewhere, which also means that they abhor what was happening. They hate it. They don't want their children to be exposed to it. For me, that is already partners who are helping us to fight pornography. People who come out like that are very, very useful, because it means that they point out the problem, where the problem is. The nudes he's talking about, I already gave you an answer of where most of them were coming from.
Yes.
From people who were blackmailing others.
Yes.
Especially girls. So I like what he has said. But much as it overwhelms people and they think we can't win the war, I'm sure we will win. And I'm also sure it's a spiritual war.
It's a spiritual war.
It is not something you go and fight physically, but we are also fighting spiritually. And praying and saying this is our nation and taking back our nation, because any nation which is left to do what it has to do ends up in a place where they can't control what is going on, and usually we appeal to God. For us, we are already appealing to God. We also thank God for the law that's already in place. We also thank God for people who are coming out to support us, but we also thank God for people who have reformed and they want to take their steps back. With a few of those gains, we know we are going a certain place.
All right. As you wrap this up, I want you to point out to what many would like to say that, no, it's okay, it's just the style of dress, it's just the industry that is like that, it's just how things are done in this industry, the music industry, and the performances that we see, and how people dress, and even on our TV screens and these particular videos that, you know, go round and make rounds and get a lot of hits and stuff like that. Is your arm stretching that wide to what we see every single day on our TV screens and even on YouTube, on social media, videos and the music industry space?
Most definitely. When I will use this artist, when this artist went and performed the way she performed, the way she was dressed, and what she did with the boys, my first question was, what do you think is wrong with what you have done? And she said, first of all, I'm sorry, because I'm a mother. That's the thing with artists in Uganda. Most of them are fathers and mothers. Most of them always regret their actions, but most of them have not been seeing a reason why they don't expose their bodies, because Beyonce is doing it, because they were not sensitized that in Uganda there is this law and it will catch up with them. We have moved. We are going to meet the artists. I've spoken to some producers of those artists. Are they called producers? The people who, the producers.
Yes, the producers.
And most of them are saying, please come and help us. These people go nude on stage. We have spoken. We are tired. We want you to come in with a strong hand. Now, I like that when the artist is able to criticize themselves on what they are dressing and what they are showing, and also able to say, I have this part. I'm also a mother, or I'm also a father. I wouldn't want my child to be exposed to this. I like that, because that's a point we will start. That's the good thing with the Ugandan artists, that they also care about their offspring and what they're exposed to.
What about the record labels that pretty much maybe push this artist to go that far? Because I'm sure the artists at times are caught in a catch-22 situation where now sex sells. It's the reality. Sex does sell. So someone who is coerced or not coerced may be told that, hey, this is the route for us to make money or for your music videos to do well, and if you go the decent route, maybe it will not do so well. What's your tactic of approaching the record labels as well and the recording companies, so to speak, as you wrap this up?
Yeah, we're also hoping to meet them. As I wrap up, we're hoping to meet the people who are recording these artists. But we first speak to the artists. We speak to their producers. Some of them we have already spoken to. And we are going to push the fact that they must be decent, that they are Ugandans. You know, when you know that you belong to a certain group and then you act like that group, that is what we want to push, that they are Ugandans and they should behave like Ugandans. And that although they think that exposing their bodies is what sells, it's important to keep the decency as well. So we're going to push that so much. This is the phase we are going into.
Wow. Thank you so much. I think I can give you a handshake on that. This battle you're fighting ain't easy. We wish you all the grace and all the success as you take this journey on. That has been Dr. Annette Kezabu, the chairperson of the Pornography Control Committee here in the country. Keep your views coming. The hashtag is Morning at NTV across all the social media platforms. We're taking a short commercial break. We'll be back with business updates.
On the very edge of Windy National Park, a cluster of cottages is designed to be a treat for the senses.